Today, I'm going to share with you 7 habits that I gave up to lose 15 kgs. I normally actually talk about healthy habits and how to create sustainable healthy habits in your life. And I got a question around what habits did you give up? And I think it's such an important topic to talk about, right? It's not easy to be self-aware that we're doing something that's to the detriment of our health. That comes with a certain level of self-awareness. And sometimes we may not have it. I do believe that self-awareness is a skill and can be practiced and can be heightened through many, many different practices. But when it's not present, it's difficult to realize, right, which habits hurt our health. So today I'll talk to you about those 7 habits that I gave up. So by the end of this video, you should have a really good idea of which ones maybe are relatable to you, which ones maybe you are doing, and what you can do about that to help yourself on your own weight loss journey. Okay, so one of the habits that I gave up to lose 15 kgs is calorie counting and macro counting and the whole sort of dieting culture. I was just going through some of my photos from the past 10 years and it reminded me of all the diets that I did. And MyFitnessPal was an app that I used to use so much 9 years ago. And if you're not familiar with the app, you input all of your food and it counts all of the calories and the macros, etc. I was using it religiously. So I actually think it's a good thing to know what calories, what goes in the food that you're eating. But when it becomes an obsession, I think that's when it can be a detriment to our health. And I tried every diet. I tried paleo, keto, vegan. I think I lasted 2 weeks on vegan, but I was very, very restrictive for many, many years. And it started at the age of 16. That's when I went on my first diet, and I'll talk about that in another video that I'll make soon. That's how young I was when it first started, and I didn't actually have to go on a diet. I just got introduced to it. Yeah, calorie counting, even now as a holistic health coach, I don't base my practice on calorie counting because I know it can become an obsession very, very quickly when we're just focusing so much on how much calories is this, how much calories is that, because not all calories are equal. Yes, there is an important theory, calories in, calories out in terms of weight loss, but calories is not the only thing that we need to be thinking about or looking about when it comes to losing weight. So that's one thing that I definitely gave up. Why did I give it up? Well, because it was causing me a lot of stress. And we know that stress heightens our cortisol levels. And when our cortisol levels are very high for a prolonged period of time, that turns into chronic stress. And chronic stress leads to weight gain. So again, obsession, stressing, cortisol, all of that turned out to be counterproductive because that meant that I actually was holding on to weight because my body was under a lot of stress from obsessing about dieting. The next habit I gave up to lose 15 kgs was throwing up. Yep, I did it. And I want to be very honest. Maybe that's something that some of you may relate to. I remember being probably maybe 16. That was the first time again I was introduced to a diet, and I had no idea that people did that. My friend and I went on this silly, silly diet. We were not allowed to eat pretty much nothing. And I remember her mother made incredible pancakes, and we would be eating those pancakes on, like, standing on top of a toilet and then spitting those pancakes into the toilet. Sorry, but I want to keep it real. And that was the first time that I was introduced to something like this. And that turned later on into going into restaurants in my 20s, overeating, and then going to the bathroom in the restaurant and quickly throwing up before it's too late, before the food got properly digested. So I knew my window, I knew my timing exactly when it's okay to go to the bathroom, how to make sure that no one notices that I was throwing up in the bathroom when I go back to the table. So I kept that a secret for many years. That allowed me to eat a lot because I wasn't actually eating it. But inside I felt so bad. I knew that. I knew that I was doing something really unhealthy to my body. If you do find yourself doing that right now and you have a bulimia-like behavior or even bulimia itself, I want to say I feel for you. I can understand that. And I'm sorry that you're going through that. And I really hope that you seek some help. And I know it's not easy to admit that we may need help. I know it's not easy to overcome this on our own. I truly hope that maybe this video inspires you to make a change, because there is a way to being healthy and to a sustainable weight loss without doing that. And I know that because I used to do it and I overcame it. And like I said, I used to diet a lot. And now, having become a holistic health coach and helping other women as well with emotional eating, I know there's other ways in which we can be in control of our health and love our bodies, even though it may feel like you don't love your body right now. Maybe this video will inspire you to make a change. Another habit I gave up to lose 15 kgs was over-exercising. Over-exercising for me started happening when I moved to Dubai. I found myself putting on a lot of weight because of the different environment and the different water quality, different air, different food, obviously. And I started exercising like crazy. I was doing a lot of CrossFit. I would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to drive to a CrossFit place, to then drive back home, shower, to then drive to work. It was crazy. I hated that. Okay. There's people who love doing CrossFit and they love that. I absolutely hated it. I did it to fit in because everyone at work was doing CrossFit. So I was like, okay, I'll do CrossFit. But I absolutely hated it. And what that caused was, again, a lot of stress in my body. And as I said before, heightened level of stress leads to heightened cortisol, and higher cortisol for a prolonged period of time leads to chronic stress, which leads to weight gain and water retention, etc. So my body was retaining water so much. And I remember just, one day saying, halas, as we say in Dubai, enough. I stopped doing that. And instead I started doing things that I love. And as a ex-dance coach, or as a dance coach, I should say, not ex, maybe my dance era is not over yet. I really enjoyed moving my body in that way, and I really love cycling. I love walking, and I think what I started doing instead was doing my, let's say, 10,000 steps a day, but I stopped running as well. I used to hate running and I started running. I don't know why. So I stopped running, I stopped CrossFit, and I focused on doing the things that I love. And walking, I think, is so important and underrated. So I kept on doing my 10,000 steps, but walking. And what that helped me do is actually lower my cortisol, because I wasn't running all the time. I was just pacing it and really enjoying my walks. I was being mindful. I started listening to podcasts, and that actually helped my body relax. So when we move our body from the stress state to relaxed state, that's when we start also seeing the results, and our body responds to that. So over exercising, I don't recommend it. If you find yourself in this position right now, I would recommend just asking yourself, are you doing it because you love it, or because, it's just something that other people do, or is a trend? So what is it that you love doing? And if you would like some inspiration, I will link down a movement menu with over 40 different types of movements that you can do. Maybe some of them you haven't done in a long time, or maybe done as a kid, maybe rollerblading. It's a lot of fun. It's freedom as well. So find what works for you, I would say, and start doing that, and stop doing the things that you don't enjoy. And if you're doing so much of it that your body feels tired, listen to your body. Your body's giving you signs for a reason. I hope that you find this helpful. Another habit that I gave up was going to bed late. And when I say late, for me, that's past 11, midnight, 1, 2 a.m. So during my first year in Dubai, for example, specifically, I used to go out a lot, and that comes with late nights, eating out, eating late, drinking, and going to bed late. It's sort of like a spiral, right? Because then what happens is when we go to bed late, we wake up late, or we wake up tired. Our sleep quality is impacted as well. So it's just a loop. Everything is connected. And then what happens is we have less energy throughout the day. We end up reaching for foods that are not as nutritious, but we're just kind of craving, let's say, burgers or pizza, just like something that is got fatty and, let's say, cheesy. That was for me. And, that was something that I would reach for when I had a late night. So that was kind of like a spiral for me. So when I fixed my sleep routine, I started seeing incredible results on my energy levels. And now, working with my clients and other women who are struggling with their sleep quality or sleep routine, I see that the first thing when we do that, when we fix their sleep routine, everything else sort of falls into place, and all the pieces of the puzzle start working together. And it's much easier for them to manage their weight or manage any other aspect of their lives once the sleep is fixed. So if you find yourself sort of resonating with this right now, and if your sleep is sort of all over the place, do leave me a comment. I have some sleep tips as well that I can share with you, and I can make another video around sleep if that's something that you'd like me to talk about a little bit more. Another habit that I gave up to lose 15 kgs is skipping breakfast. Going back to CrossFit days, when I trained CrossFit, I would have a shot of espresso before going there. Then I would come back home, have another Nespresso, and that would be my breakfast. And then I would go to the office and I would have another coffee because we had a barista in the office. Actually, I would have like 2 coffees at once, and then I would have my breakfast. And the breakfast normally was like a sugary cereal, let's say, so full of carbs and full of sugar with a banana. So again, okay, a fresh fruit, but sugar, sugar, sugar. Yeah, that was not the best start to the day. And what happened was that my energy levels were low, and I then substituted breakfast for coffee. So I would rely on coffee, so kind of fake energy, to give me energy throughout the day until lunchtime. And I remember just feeling really depleted in the morning. And now as a health coach, I know how important it is to have breakfast in the morning. Now, I know everyone's different, and if you are used to not having breakfast in the morning and that works for you, great. But for me, it didn't work because I truly believe, and I can see it on myself and on my clients as well, in keeping our blood sugar stable. And how we do that is to have consistent meal times throughout the day. So let's say breakfast at 7:30 or 8, lunch at 1:30, and then dinner ideally around 6 or 2 hours before bedtime. What that does is it keeps our blood sugar stable. So we have less cravings, we're less moody, we're less sleepy, let's say, throughout the day. So that's why I stopped skipping breakfast, and now I have breakfast. I have, for example, oats. So I really love oats for energy. Now, not everyone's gonna love oats. Some people get bloated after oats, so it really depends. Or eggs in the morning. So I always say, listen to your body, observe, and listen to any symptoms that you're getting, like bloating or low energy after eating. Maybe that is just not enough food and you maybe need a bigger portion, right? So it really depends. But I always say you are your best health expert, and no amount of information. I know that even now I'm giving you information, but I always say you are your best health expert, and you have to watch and look at your body and observe and listen and tune in to see what works for you. So if you find yourself skipping breakfast right now, get real honest with you, because I know I have clients who also were doing that, and they realized that they were skipping breakfast when they did my gut cleanse, and they realized that they were substituting with, let's say, coconut latte for breakfast. So now that they started eating breakfast, they feel so much better and they feel full of energy. So if you're interested in doing my gut cleanse, which honestly is so incredible and you're going to get amazing results, I will put a link into it down under this video so you can do it at your own time. Okay, the next habit that I stopped doing to lose 10 or 15 kgs was weighting myself and taking pictures of myself. So that goes hand in hand. I remember having a scale at home, and now I just religiously weight myself. And again, that kind of became an obsession, like, oh my God, I'm half a kilo heavier or a kilo heavier than I was yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to skip dinner. The amount of pictures that I used to take of my belly from a side was ridiculous. I was obsessed. Like, I had to have a flat belly, and if I didn't, then I would punish myself by not eating, etc. And that really turned into a lot of a big obsession. I was doing that for many, many years. Now, when I work with my clients, and I'm going to share this with you too, I really believe that when it comes to sustainable weight loss, we have to stop obsessing about food, about losing weight, about how our bodies look. We have to let that go. And only after, I think, a year and a half, after I stopped taking pictures of myself, let's say, I started seeing results. And I didn't even realize, like, people started telling me that I lost weight. I'm like, really? But I didn't see that because I stopped obsessing. And I'm not saying that it's going to take you a year and a half to lose weight. But what I'm saying is, once we stopped obsessing about something and we just surrender and let go, I really believe that it comes to us. Because when we keep obsessing, right, it's like about money. Keep obsessing about money. I want money. I'm not rich enough. It just turns into that negative self-talk and obsession. And I really believe that when we let go, the universe always conspires in our favor and it brings it to us but we have to surrender. So if you find yourself weighting yourself, and if you find yourself taking pictures of yourself so much, please stop. Put that scale away, throw it out, or just put it somewhere where you can't see. You'll see that you'll feel so much better after a while. It may be difficult because something is already a habit. You may have to break that habit. So every time you find yourself going to the scale, instead, drink a glass of water. You can substitute one habit for the other, right? Or go for a mini walk around the place where you live, just to substitute it. So I really hope that was helpful. And the last habit that I gave up to lose 15 kgs was ordering deliveries. And that specifically happened in Dubai. Dubai has a really specific culture when it comes to food, when it comes to everything, because it's so easy to get everything delivered. And everybody knows that everyone delivers in Dubai. And I used to be one of those people. It's so easy. You can get breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, a bottle of water delivered. Like literally people will deliver you a bottle of water. Crazy. It's very convenient, but it makes you very lazy. And it's very convenient because you spend less time in the kitchen cooking, right? But you never really know where the ingredients came from. So you never really know where that chicken came from. You never know where that beef came from. You never know where the veggies came from. And the more I started listening to my body and the more I started being in tune with myself, the more I realized how important it is for me to cook at home, how I love shopping for fresh produce. And I know that in Dubai it may be a bit of a challenge, but there is a waterfront market and there's ripe market and there's different food markets where you can get locally sourced food. So if you live in a place where it's a little bit difficult, I hear you, but there's also online deliveries where you can get some fresh produce delivered. And ideally, I really, really vouch for homemade meals. It's not like I'm able to do it throughout the year right now because I split my time between Dubai and Europe, but I do it as much as I can, and I can really feel the difference when I'm making my own food because I know exactly where the food comes from. I know exactly every single ingredient that goes in, how much oil are put, and it just makes me feel empowered. And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel accomplished cooking at home. I think it's so nice, especially when you're cooking with someone, for your partner, not just for yourself. I really love doing that. So these are my 7 habits that I gave up to lose 15 kgs. And I would love to hear from you. Which one resonated with you the most? Leave a comment below. And if you need help in your weight loss or weight management journey, book a one-to-one consultation with me. I'll drop a link down under this video. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. And please remember to like, comment, or subscribe to let me know that you enjoyed this video and let the YouTube algorithm know that you enjoyed it as well. And that way I'll be able to make more of these videos. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. And again, I just want to mention, you've got this. If you're on your own weight loss journey, you've got this. Keep it sustainable, keep it easy, and be kind to yourself and give yourself time. I'll see you in the next video.